Uh, I'm going to share my screen as well. Just thank you so much for joining us, the virtual info session for the Professional Education BA in Psychology. We are excited that everyone is here. Love this. Okay, just want to welcome you. My name is Amanda Barrett. I am the director of the Graduate and Professional Education Admissions and Recruiting team. My team members are here. We have Amanda Young, who helps oversee admissions for our BA Psychology, our MS Clinical Psychology, and our MS Biotechnology. And then Kais, she helps to oversee admissions for our School of Theology and Ministry, as well as our Department of Nursing. And so super thankful that they're able to join us. And then we also have Carrie Moore. She is the program chair of our BA Psychology program. So she will be able to give an overview of all of the program and answer any questions that you might have as we move forward. Kind of what we hope to accomplish tonight is we want to let you know what's needed to apply. So you're fully aware of what's going to be required for you to send to us moving forward in the admissions process. We want to be able to let you know how much the degree is and give you some resources for how you would finance that degree. We want to let you know some resources as you come in to be a new student. What we at Vanguard pride ourselves on is how we can help walk with students through their journey. And so just giving you an overview of some of those resources. And then also who your point of contact will be during the program, who is walking with you, making sure that you get registered on time, making sure you're meeting all the graduation requirements. And then of course, turning that time over to you so you can answer or ask any questions that you might have about the program or the process to the team here. I'm going to hand it over to Amanda to take care of the admissions side of things.
Yeah, thanks, Amanda. So for the admissions requirements, I think I did even briefly talk about this with you, Lachelle, but you have the online application that you would fill out and submit, and that's kind of the first step. The next thing would be your application fee, which you actually have waived just for attending this info session. So that's one less thing to worry about. And then we do require your official high school or GED transcripts. So for the high school transcripts, typically if you just contact your high school's administrative office, they can get those student records for you. But if not, you can also contact the district office and they should be able to get those records for you as well. And then if you didn't graduate from high school, you can also send in GED transcripts, and that works just as well. We also require any prior college transcripts. So yeah, any other, like if you went to junior college before, you would send in those transcripts either electronically or directly mailed. And then a statement of purpose, which is a one-page minimum. If you need the prompt for that, you can always let me know and I can send that over to you as well. And then lastly, a GPA appeal statement is required for if you have a GPA that's below a 2.0, either from high school, if that's the last institution you were at, or if you were previously at a JC college, then we would need that one-page appeal statement. But those are all of the admissions requirements.
Thanks, Amanda. Next up would be how much does the program cost and how do you finance your degree? The program is $535 a credit hour. So depending on if you're bringing in transfer units, we would do an unofficial transcript evaluation just to see what units we could transfer into the program. And then from there, kind of give you this is how many credits you have left. So you know what that number is times 535 in order to finish paying out your degree. Students generally finance their degree through the FAFSA, which for online online undergraduate students, it's still under needs-based aid. You can still qualify for Pell Grant or Cal Grant alongside of needs-based aid from the institution. You just have to make sure that your FAFSA is sent to the university using school code 001293. And then making sure that you're filling it out for the current academic year, which is 2024-2025. Other ways that students pay for their degree outside of aid is through scholarships. We as an institution don't have scholarships for our online students, but we do recommend that you look at outside scholarships from fastweb.net, scholarships.com. I also fully recommend asking your employer if they have any kind of tuition reimbursement. Surprisingly, a lot of employers do, and may not always advertise that. But whether they want to pay the university directly or you pay and they reimburse you, we can help you with steps for that as well. And then also asking any local affiliations or churches that you're involved with. I know my church has a scholarship for graduating seniors going into college, and they do allow them to apply for small scholarships. So I would definitely say make sure to check with your church, or if you're part of any affiliation. Next, just want to let you know that coming in as a student, we want you to be as successful as possible. We really pride ourselves at Vanguard at how we walk with students in a very personal way, and in how we want to see you succeed to graduation. One of the things that we know is the fact of adding on the cost of college can sometimes strain other areas of your budget. And so we have a Living Well center that has groceries and has the opportunity for you to get even electronics. So there's ways for us to be able to walk with you even outside of just the coursework. So we have our counseling services that are also free to students, and then we have just other resources on campus through our academic resource center. We also we don't know when the last time you were in a college setting is. And so we do have a writing center that does assist students with their writing ability, whether that's helping with formatting or defining your voice, or just trying to make sure that it's the best work that you have in order to submit for grades. So you can submit that ahead of time to help get feedback on your writing before you submit it for your grade. We do also have tutoring in certain classes for our online education students. And so if you are struggling in a specific GE class, or even in some of our psychology classes, some of our even MS Psych students can come alongside you and help walk you through some of those things that you might need a little extra support in. We also have a disability services center. So if you are struggling with mental, physical, or other hindrance that inhibits your learning, we want to be able to connect you with our disability services to help create a plan for you to be successful. This might look like accommodations in assignments or timelines. But if this is something that you're worried about, everything is confidential and it's only shared with your professor in order for you to be successful in the current course that you're in. And then also, if you are a veteran or veteran dependent, then first of all, we want to thank you for the service that you have given to this country, but also want to let you know that we have a fully operational Veterans Resource Center where our counselor, Chris Carroll, he helps veterans and veteran dependents maximize their benefit that they could be getting through the VA as you walk through your classes. Chris is also helps to be the academic advisor for any veteran or veteran dependents throughout their time here at Vanguard from our online and graduate population. If you are not a veteran, you still have someone walking with you through your whole program. Your academic coordinator, her name is Terry Quinones, and she will be making sure that you're on track for graduation, that you're registered for your courses, reminding you about course registration. So she's walking through you throughout this whole time. Was unable to be here tonight. And so, but yeah, you do have an advocate that is just checking in on you consistently to make sure that you're good throughout your whole degree program. And so we're grateful for our academic coordinators, and Terry is lovely. So if you are able to step into the program, she's going to be really excited to get to know you and again, walk with you throughout your program. Now is the fun part where we actually get to turn the evening over to you. So I am going to, again, reintroduce Carrie Moore. She is our department chair for the BA Psychology program. I'm also going to stop sharing my screen. that way we can see everyone's lovely face. Lindsay, thanks so much for joining us, and anything that you missed, we'll be able to fill you in on. But Carrie, I would love to turn the time over to you to kind of talk about the program, and then we will field questions from our students here if they have additional ones that maybe you don't answer.
Sure. Well, thank you so much, Amanda. And I'm so pleased to get to meet all of you and to get to share a little bit about the psychology program. As you probably know, and I'll just say, I'll just talk for a few minutes and give you a little bit of an overview, and then I want to make sure that there's plenty of time for your questions as well. As you probably know, there's just so much that you can do with a psychology degree. It's a very broad discipline. Some people are thinking they want to go on to graduate work and become a therapist. Others are thinking that they want to work in a community nonprofit with children, with older adults, in a medical setting, in a mental health setting, in a church setting, right? There's just, dozens and dozens and dozens of different directions. So for the program that provides both sort of a challenge and an opportunity, one thing is we want to make sure that our program is built to give you that strong foundational knowledge of psychology so that you're ready for all of these different possible paths. So we have, as you can imagine, a lot of courses that give you an overview and an introduction to different kinds of populations, different parts of the field of psychology. But also we want you to be able to tailor your experience to what you are most interested in. So our faculty is very diverse in terms of the degrees that we hold, the paths that we took to get to this point, and the kinds of experience that we bring. So we have people who, we have, for example, someone who is a gerontologist, someone who's a marriage and family therapist, someone who's a licensed clinical social worker. So the goal would be that while you're in the program, as you start to get more of a sense of what you want to do with your psychology degree, we want to help connect you with a faculty mentor who matches that, who can help you customize. And also we're really increasing the accessibility to electives and unique courses of study so that if you wanted to participate in research while you were here, for example, that's an option. If you want to do a field practicum, all of these unique pieces, we want to help you customize. So one kind of thing I think about as you're trying to understand whether this is a good program for you, one thing I want to share with you is that it's a strong general foundation with lots of room to kind of make it your own and customize the degree. It's a program where you absolutely will get to know your professors and they will get to know you. You absolutely can meet with your professors individually. I have already, even just today, I was on a Zoom call with a student individually working through some questions that she had, and that's absolutely part of the normal flow of the program. We think of it as a program where there's high expectations and also a high level of support. So we want to help you reach that high level of expectation. Of course, all of this is happening in a program that is faith integrated. So that means we're going to be exploring how whatever faith perspective you are bringing in, how does that connect with your motivation to be in a helping profession or to explore the field of psychology. So all of the professors are themselves coming from a foundation of faith and love to talk about the ways that our academic discipline connects with our faith. For me, that's really something that makes the program deeper and richer to talk about those integration pieces. But the students you all will be diverse in the faith experiences you've had in the past, and that's very welcome. So it's not that you need to come from one particular denomination or have a particular view of faith. We just want to be a place where you can explore those kinds of questions in a supportive learning community. And then the last thing I'll say, and then I'll open it up for questions, is that the program is built for you to have opportunities to apply your learning in the real world. So part of the psychology program will be that you will do either a field practicum experience where you're doing some kind of volunteering or even working in a social service setting, or you may do some kind of a research opportunity where you're conducting real research and participating in that part of the field. And in addition to being the psychology program chair, I'm also the person who kind of coordinates that applied learning piece. So you're not going to be on your own to figure out, how do I do that? And where would I do that? And how does the timing work? You'll have someone kind of by your side figuring out those pieces. So that's a little bit of an overview of the psychology major. If you come to Vanguard, I'll be one of the people that's just kind of here walking beside you, getting to know you through that whole experience. And I wonder, are there any questions that you have at this point that I could help to answer? I'd love to just kind of hear anything that's on your mind.
I put it in the chat, but we're a small enough group. Please feel free to unmute to go ahead and ask any question you have about the program. And we'll let Carrie answer those questions. Anything you have about admissions requirements, we'll let Amanda answer those questions. But yeah, this is your time as a prospective student to really get those questions that you have answered.
I'm trying to think if I have any particular questions. I think everything was covered. Um, and I really do like the fact that we're able to tailor the degree to our specifications, because psychology is so broad. So that's good to know.
Yeah, and I would say that's newer in the last couple of years. We've really leaned into making it possible for students in this part of our psychology major to take elective classes all throughout the psychology program. So that means that there's more opportunities for electives. So you do have a core set of classes that are required for everybody, and major requirement classes, right? Because we know everybody needs to take developmental psychology, for example, right? There's some things that everybody needs. But beyond that, we want you to have space. If you're really interested, for example, we just have a new class this fall about helping people recover following trauma. And that the reason we developed that elective class is because students said it was an interest for them. So when we have a lot of students request a particular elective, we find a professor with that expertise and we add it to the schedule. So just as an example, if there's things that you're interested in, we'll try to connect you with an elective that matches.
Okay, that's good to know that you guys are ever evolving. You're not just stagnant.
For sure, yeah. Because the field is always, that there's new things coming out in the field. So we want to make sure that when you graduate, you're ready to enter the field as it is. That's another reason that we do that applied learning, is because it makes you a stronger candidate for your first employment or for grad school if you have those kinds of applied learning experiences.
Okay.
Lindsay or Paris, any questions that you can think of? No pressure, but I just want to make sure if you have anything, I'm here to help.
I was gonna ask, do you know if by any chance after you're done with all of that, would we be in debt?
Would you be adept?
In debt?
Oh, in debt? Like are you asking about a financial, like the financial cost? Yeah, let me send that over. Amanda, who would you like to have answer that?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and answer that. So again, it all depends on how you're financing your degree. If you're using needs-based aid, if you're getting scholarships, if you are using loans. The goal obviously is that you're not coming out of school in debt with debt. And our goal is to try to help you manage that. But
The
knowing,
thing is,
go ahead.
sorry, I don't have, like, my parents are not helping me pay for it. So
Totally.
it's literally just me and my job.
Yeah. So we
So,
do
yeah.
want to make it where you can take classes and get the needs-based aid that you require in order to be, to not have debt. The other benefit of our online education is that you can take it at a pace because you pay by semester, you pay for the classes that you're registered in. If you needed to take it at a slower pace in order to make it work where you're able to finance it over a set amount of time, and maybe it's not in the traditional 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, maybe it does take 6, 7 years. We're here to walk with you in that. But obviously we want to help get you the resources that you need in order to be able to take the classes uh, without stepping into debt.
Okay. So in the university, you guys have dorms, right?
We do have
There-
dorms. Yeah, they
Can I
are.
ask how much it is?
That is a great question. I don't know how much the housing is off the top of my head. I do know as an online student, you're able to apply for housing. You do have to be in at least 13 units a semester in order to be eligible.
Okay, thank you.
And we can provide that as a follow-up. If you're interested in applying for housing, we can connect you with that team that both on the financial side, but also just what is it like to apply for housing? How does that work? We can connect you with those answers.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Once we get our degree, is there a difference between the fact that we're getting it through the professional studies versus a traditional undergraduate student?
That's a great question. And no, there's not. So it won't say anything different on your diploma. And the requirements are essentially the same. There are some small differences in the way the degree program is set up for the traditional undergraduate and for the professional ed degree. But both of them are very, I would say, sort of industry standard. Like these are both very typical, like what are the kinds of requirements that a grad school would want to see that you had met, or that an employer would want to see that you had met. So both of them are just a standard BA in psychology. Your degree won't say anything different. So it's up to you as you go out into the world. If you want to share with people that it had been in a particular type of program, you can, but otherwise it'll just be a Vanguard psychology degree.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Something fun that we've, oh, go ahead. I see somebody.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Lindsay.
How long does it take to be a psychologist versus a psychiatrist?
That's a great question. So a psychiatrist, that's actually a medical doctor. So if you were interested in psychiatry, you could consider doing a psychology undergrad, but it's almost more common to do like a biology undergrad because you're heading into medical school at that point. And that's probably, I don't even know, but I would say a 4-year undergrad degree, and then maybe 4 years in medical school and 4 in residency, something like that. Where a psychologist, now we're talking about typically a psychology BA, and then a doctoral program in psychology. Another way you can think of going is a master's level psychology degree. Often if people are thinking about providing therapy, then they might do, for example, a master's in family therapy. And that would be typically a 2-year master's program after your undergrad. That's a very common thing that students are wondering about, like, what are all of these different paths and certifications, especially after the BA, and which one is right for me? So it's very common for students, once they begin the program, to meet with their faculty mentor and just kind of talk about what are your specific interests, where do you want to head, and what grad program might be the best fit for you. Something fun that we've added lately is a collaboration with Vanguard's clinical psychology program, our own graduate clinical psych program. So if students are thinking that they might want to go on to a clinical grad program, if you are a strong undergraduate student, you're doing well in our undergrad program, in your final year, there's an opportunity to take up to 4 graduate level courses. So actually taking master's level courses while you're still in your undergrad. So those would be counting towards your undergrad requirements, but also if you then, it gives you a chance to try out a master's program. And if you did continue on in the Vanguard Clinical Psych program, those would be classes that you had already checked off your list when you got there. So some of our students, especially the ones that are really excited and pursuing grad degree, ultimately, they love the chance to kind of get a head start and try it out.
I thought of another question. Um, I know that this is an online program, but are there any classes that are offered on campus or in person? Is there a chance that we would run into that?
Yes. So as an online student, because our online GE courses and our online courses for the major are, any student can register for those courses. If you did want to work with your academic coordinator to say, hey, I have ability to come on campus this semester, and I need to take this course. Is it offered online? You can work with Terry in order to help set your schedule in that way. But this is, you also get first crack at the online courses that are in the evening because you're an online evening student.
Right. Now, I just think about some of my science courses. I don't know if I'm going to have to do that. And those are the classes that I like to be in person
Sure, absolutely. You'll have that
for.
opportunity.
Okay, well, that's cool.
Yeah, it's I think kind of the best of both worlds, because if you're not local and you need the whole program to be online, it is. You can finish your whole degree program online. But if you are local and you're interested in doing some component on campus, you can, and you'll just work with your advisor to mix in those on-campus classes. Increasingly, we have a lot of students who like that, just to have maybe, one class a semester that they're doing in person.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Is there any classes we would have to take, like, that we didn't finish in high school by any chance?
So,
Like
uh,
prerequisite courses?
Like, for example, I don't think I finished algebra, but because the teachers had asked me if I wanted to go to college, and back in high school I had said no. College was like not in my, like, you know, way or area, I guess. But I don't know what changed that. I was like, you know what? Maybe it'll be worth it if I do go to college. But I don't know. So
yeah, I
yeah.
mean, as long as if you're bringing in either a high school diploma or a GED, you're not going to have any, like what you're describing, like, oh, the college track at my high school would have been to take algebra, but I didn't take it. No, you're not going to need to go back and take algebra. You will have, math requirements, science requirements, just like any other incoming Vanguard student. But as long as you're bringing in a high school degree, no, you're not going to need to go back and do extra stuff.
Oh, okay. Good. Yeah. Because I think part of me, the other reason why I said I wasn't going to go to college is because I was like, I don't want to do math. So I was like, no, I'm not going to college. So yeah. But thank
That's
you.
It's very common. Everybody has, and it's not math for everybody, but I think everybody has that class that they think, oh no, I don't know if I can be successful in that. So some students it's writing, some students it's statistics. Whatever that is, just be in contact with your professor. We'll work together with you to support you in that class.
Okay. Yeah, because math has never been my strong suit. Reading and writing has always been what I'm mostly good at, but not math. Mm-mm.
You will not be alone. You'll be in good company of other people who feel that way.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Paris, we're so glad that you're able to join us, especially in a whole different time zone. whole different country zone. Did you have any questions for Carrie about the program that we can answer for you? And you can
I
take
think
yourself off mute.
you're muted. Paris, can you unclick your mute button on your Zoom? Thank you.
How
Now
about
you're good.
right
Okay,
now? You can hear me?
perfect. Yes, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Good evening. How are you?
Good to meet you.
Yeah, I'm in China, so now it's a very different time zone here. I just woke up to join the meeting. I wasn't even very sure if this is the right time. I just tried. Yes, I had a few questions. I had the lady mention about the maths. That was part of my questions. I did perform so well in maths. Um, I also needed to understand beyond maybe like the mental hospitals, where else can I apply my course of psychology?
Mhm. So you're thinking a hospital is one place.
Mhm.
I would say all kinds of social service agencies. So if you think about the different kinds of challenges that can come up in people's lives, right? People not having secure housing, people becoming addicted to drugs or alcohol, people experiencing family violence, people facing mental health challenges. In general, all the kinds of things that we can run into as people, all the different kinds of challenges that can come up, often there are agencies that are set up to support people with that kind of challenge, a homeless shelter or a substance abuse recovery center, or all of those kinds of places. In general, those are the kinds of places that psychology majors work. Lots of things with support to children and families. Um, Lots of support to communities. You might work in a faith-based setting, a school, a ministry, a community center, working with older adults, working with children. A really common one in our area is working with children and families who are affected by autism spectrum disorders. So there's quite a range. Do you have a sense already, Paris, of something you might be interested in?
So, pardon, do I have a?
Do you have an area that you already know you're interested in, or is it wide open?
I would like to make it wide open because sometimes we limit some opportunities, and another person, maybe you could be the right appropriate person to help another
Yes.
person that you limited, I feel so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what you're sharing, Paris, reminds me, often students will say that even before they go out into the workforce, the psychology program is just very relevant to our own lives, right? Because all of us are in relationships with family and friends. All of us experience challenges in our own lives. So often students will say to me that the first thing that they notice, even while they're still in the process of studying psychology, is that they're able to use what they learn in their own family and in their own friendships, right? Because it's just so relevant to what it's like to be a person.
True.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And how about now the classes? Considering that sometimes I'm moving maybe from China back to Kenya, am I allowed to adjust on my time zone?
Yes. So the due dates and everything will be set based on Pacific time, right? We're based in California in the United States, but if um, if there are those kinds of time zone issues, I think in general professors are professors just want to hear from you uh, what your unique circumstances are and see if they can work with you, right? So if you approached the professor and said, this is always, all the assignments are due in the middle of the night for me, would I be able to submit things 3 hours late or whatever? In general, I think the professors would be happy to talk with you about what your circumstances are. If some of the classes will have live Zoom sessions available, but in most cases, it's not required. It's an option to do the Zoom session, and then there's an alternate assignment that you can do instead if the timing doesn't work out for you.
Thank you. And are there other courses that I can attach with my psychology lessons that are so related to make it, I'd like to make my psychology outcome very strong.
Are you thinking like you might want to add classes from outside the psychology major? Are you thinking of like double majoring, that kind of a thing?
Yeah, because that one will make the outcome strong for me.
Yeah, so there is a good amount of opportunity to customize. So probably the most common thing that I've seen students do is if you're planning to use your psychology major in some kind of a church setting, you might decide that you want to have a minor in theology, for example, to go along with the psychology major. And your student success coordinator, your advisor, can talk with you about building that kind of thing if it's something you're interested in.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, great question.
I think that was the most, those were the most burning questions I had.
Thank you so much. It's nice to meet you, Paris.
Thank you. It's nice meeting you.
Where does the criminal, like the criminal spectrum kind of fall? Like examples of that, criminal justice.
Yeah, so we have a online criminal justice degree. So any of our online degrees you are able to add as minors. So that's just one that you would potentially be able to add. So it's just taking classes from our criminal justice bachelor's degree and adding that into your psychology degree as a minor.
Can I piggyback off of that question?
Sure.
Is adding criminal justice as a minor, do you guys know if there's like a success rate with people going to pass their LSAT and going to law school?
What an interesting question. It's a new program for Vanguard, the criminal justice major. So we wouldn't have yet those kinds of numbers internally from Vanguard. But it's a great question. Like if you were thinking that you wanted to head in the direction of law school, I see what you're thinking, that maybe a criminal justice major or minor might be a smart way to go for that.
Okay, well, that's definitely something that I would be able to ask, or not necessarily ask, but I can probably definitely just talk deeper with whomever my counselor is, because I would like to go to law school after, and I would like to set myself up for success for that, but I definitely want to stick with psychology as my major. That's my true interest.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And you could speak to your advisor, and you could also speak to the chair of or the director of the criminal justice major.
Okay.
I think would be happy to speak with you as well.
Okay, great.
If at any point we feel like psychiatry might not be for us, will it like charge us extra for getting out of school, or?
I mean, no, there's no charge to discontinue the program. You would have paid for whatever classes you had done, and it's not the kind of thing where you wouldn't get a refund on the classes you had done already. But no, it's not like there's a penalty for stopping in the middle.
Yeah. Okay.
You could also switch majors in the middle if you felt like psychology wasn't for you, but you wanted to switch to another major within Vanguard. You could think of doing that.
Okay. And criminal justice is more like Like, what is criminal justice?
Yeah, so that's really trying to discern like the like legal parameters or ethics, matters of justice. So people who go into that degree tend to be like cops, law enforcement, people who work in social work, advocacy for victims, uh, forensics, criminology. Um, our chair of that, he is a former FBI agent. So there's lots, very similar to psychology. There's lots of applicability to a degree in criminal justice because it's such a broad degree.
I did kind of want to do something like that, but I don't know. I wanted to actually be one of those that does autopsies, like, but like studies the body to see the cause of the death. But then picturing an actual dead body kind of made me feel uneasy, and I was like, you know what? Maybe that's not for me. And so yeah, but I don't know. I also kind of wanted to be an FBI agent at some point, but then I was like, no.
Well, the
And
cool
then
thing
I started
about
more to psychiatry.
going into any kind of agency, psychology would also be a very relevant field going into any agency. So um, if you weren't able to find yourself in like a criminal justice degree, psychology would also be very applicable.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you all for all of your questions. And it's also super cool to just get to like see all of you guys because I know I've had like conversations with each of you. But I just wanted to do one final call just to see if there's any, last questions you wanted to throw out there, either on the admission side for the application or to Carrie regarding like the actual program. Yeah, just one final call to see if there's any other questions.
No, I think you guys covered everything. It was a well-rounded meeting, and I'm glad that others joined in because it helped me to think of my own other questions. So thank you as well to the others that are joining in with me as a potential new student. No, but thank you so much for this.